Every week, we have customers that have experiences where they're browsing the web, they're minding their own business. They might be looking at a news site, might be looking at a shopping site, or maybe even the Microsoft. Every week, we have customers that are browsing the web. They might be looking at a news site or a sports site or doing some online shopping. They might even be at the Microsoft Start page. And all of a sudden, something pops up on their screen and tells them that their computer is infected or that their computer is locked, and actually advises them to call a number. And quite often, from the verbiage on the website and what it looks like in the icons on the website, quite often it actually looks like that this is happening, and that this message is coming from Microsoft, and that the company that has the 800 number is Microsoft. And almost every week we have customers that actually call the number and let someone into their system. But thankfully, we provide training to say, do not call that number. And we also provide help to anyone that gets a message like that. And we're going to actually go over this and actually the tale of two customers, so you can see what differences can happen when you have different approaches. So stay tuned for that message. We did want to go over, and I'll actually get ready here and to switch over to a full screen to be able to show you what I took from one of our customers from their screen. But we actually have situations where, and I mentioned this, we've gone over this many times, and I know some of the people listening are going to say, hey, why are you going over this again? You've already talked about this a lot of times. Well, we see it every week, almost every week at least. We see situations where people actually are browsing the web. Something pops up on their screen that says your computer is infected or your computer is locked because we found suspicious activity. Call this number to take care of the problem. Quite often, what's on the screen, which is really an ad, it's not an official legitimate message. It's a message put up there by scammers. The people that you would call and speak to are the same group of people. It might not be, I'm sure the person you talk to is not going to be one of the ones that was in charge of infecting a site or infecting a server so that that malicious message would pop up. But it's his firm or her firm that did that to you. And so calling them is not the solution. But as many times and as often as we say it, we do have customers on a regular basis that do call the number. They trust the person on the phone because it says it's Microsoft or portrays that you're calling Microsoft support or Windows support. The people trust them. They let them into their computer. And then what happens is you have a lot of bad things that can happen. If they get into your computer, I guarantee you, if you saved passwords in your browser, they're going to know them within seconds of them getting into your computer. They also could do damage to your computer. They could lock your computer down, and they're going to try at least to sell you a maintenance program or a service contract so that they can help solve this quote-unquote problem. But realize there is no problem. They're the problem. They're the ones that created that image or that message is popping up on your screen. So this week, we actually did have a customer with one of these messages, and thankfully, rather than calling the number, she knew because she had called the number in the past, and we actually helped her out in the past, but she called a Faster PC at 772-878-5978, and we actually were able to log into her computer, and we were able to resolve the issue for her. So I'm going to switch over to a full screen. I'll show this on the screen for those that are actually checking out, or those that are browsing, that are on our stream. If you're not watching the stream, you can watch this at your convenience at our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, and we have links to both of those on our website at fasterpc.com. But what is on the screen, I'll verbally describe this for those that are listening on the radio. So what happens is basically when you go to various pages, there are ads that are displayed. And those ads are images, and those images can be infected. And the way they would become infected most of the time is that the server that is hosting that ad would be infected, and that infection would inject itself into the images. So then when an ad for, let's say, a lawnmower or a dress or whatever, it could be anything, shows up. We've seen this happen, by the way, on major websites, major news websites. We've seen it happen even at the Microsoft start page. If you open up Microsoft Edge, that first page that comes up is the start page. And so this ad comes up that's infected, or the file is infected. It launches a malicious script that, in this case, it pops up, and there's a page, and the page says Microsoft in the background. It actually looks like a Microsoft page. And it's possible that, I don't know for sure yet whether this website was spoofed or whether a legitimate Microsoft website was actually infected in such a way that it displayed this information. But there actually is the Microsoft logo in the back, and Microsoft, and you see various links in the background on the main page in the background for Microsoft 365, Microsoft Edge, and other items there. And then there's a pop-up above that you see the Microsoft Windows logo, and it says Windows, and then it starts to say security. But there's a pop-up above that as well. And that pop-up says, that gives the IP address, gives the location of the computer, the internet service provider, and it says access to this PC has been blocked for security reasons. Call Windows support, and you see Windows security, and there's a phone number. In the lower right, there's another pop-up that says call Microsoft, call support. And there's a phone number, and it says security toll free. Down below, there says call Windows support. There's a phone number. And then right at the bottom, it says call Windows support, and there's a phone number. There's also a pop-up over the page that has the IP address. It says you should contact us immediately so that our engineers can guide you through the removal process by phone. Your computer is disabled. Call Windows support. And again, thankfully, this customer has learned from her mistakes in the past, because in the past she called that number and she was scammed, and then she called us and we cleaned up the mess. But this time she called us before calling them and didn't call them. And so we were able to log into her system. We were able to get this message off of the screen. We were able to upgrade her security so that hopefully this doesn't happen in the future. And we were able to do all of this very quickly, and without her having to definitely call the number, spend a long time, because it does take a long time to working with these folks, and really they're scammers. They're I'm being generous when I call them folks. They're scammers or hackers, and they are trying to trick you out of your money. And some people that pay them, we've seen people paying $200, $300, as much as $700. We've even seen situations where they have convinced people that someone was trying to steal their money, and that to protect their money, they needed to transfer the money out of their bank account to another bank account. And we've had customers that have lost $13,000, $20,000, $40,000. So it can happen. It's not something that you want to have happen, and you want to protect yourself from this type of threat. Now, we do have basic browser protection that we offer. We also have advanced browser protection. And our basic browser protection blocks ads and malicious sites, and there's no cost for that basic browser protection. It's just our time in putting it on your computer. All of our managed services clients have that, by the way. If we've done remote support with you, we probably have installed basic browser protection on your system. And this protects against a lot of things. But in this case, this customer had basic browser protection, but it didn't protect them. So we have an additional plugin that is a paid plugin that provides an additional layer where it is actually analyzing every site you go to. And if it thinks that the site is bad, it will actually warn you. And if you proceed on, that page is not going to load on your computer. It'll load in a virtual environment to protect you. So if you're interested in any of that, our number is 772-878-5978. This is Brian Longworth, host of a Faster PC Live Technical Support. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and learned something. If you have, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell so that you can be notified when we post new videos.